So here's some examples. So I'm going to use this as this opportunity to show you the design tools that we use to create flowcharts in pseudocode. Okay, so this is the challenge. We want to design a program that asks the user for their name and responds with hello name. Okay, so in this case, our input is to prompt the user for their name and then to let them type the name in. So that's going to be our input section. We don't really have a process here because we're not actually going to do anything with the name other than print it out. So there's no process in our first program. Then we have an output, which is to print hello, this literal hello, plus whatever name the user entered in. This is what our flowchart will look like. Okay, so how do we actually draw this flowchart though? The easiest way to do that is to use, in my opinion, is to use the Google Drawings app that comes with your Google account. You can do this with lots of other things. You can draw flowcharts in PowerPoint, in slides for Google, in the Mac, slides and display. I think it's called Keynote program if you want to use that. So you can really draw flowchart symbols in lots of programs, but I think that Google Drawings is probably the simplest way. So in order to do that, we're going to flip over here. This is just my Google Drive, and this is the folder that has all of the slide decks in it for the class that's shared with you. And so we're going to click on New, come down here to More, and click on Google Drawings. Okay, and I'm just going to create that. So if you're used to any of the Google apps, Google Docs or any of those, you'll find this interface very, very familiar. So here I'm just going to say I'm going to give it a name, flowchart world. Okay, or I'll say hello you. We'll call it that. And then I'm going to begin drawing on my form here. One of the first things I want to do is you'll notice that my drawing area is a square. Okay, I don't really want that. I wanted my drawing area to be the same as a single sheet of paper. Okay, so I'm going to come here to File. I'm going to go to Page Setup. I'm going to say make my page custom, and I'm going to make it 8.5 by 11. Sorry, 8.5 by 11 inches, and apply. And now we see that my drawing area is now looking like just a regular sheet of paper. Okay, this is important because if we want to print these things out for any reason, then we want them to fit nicely on a piece of paper. Plus, this gives you a little more drawing space as you begin to work. So if we go back to our slides, we see that the first thing we want is the begin and the end, and then we have a couple of inputs here and outputs. Okay, so this is what we're going to draw. So let's come here to our flowchart. We need to pick a shape. So we highlight here on shape. We click that, and we can see on shapes we get a whole different options. Right here at the bottom, we get a bunch of flowchart shapes. So here we can even, if we hover over them, we'll even get a little pop-up that says what kind of shape this is representing. Okay, so we're going to start with the Terminator. We're just going to draw it just like this. Start. They come with this blue background. I prefer mine to be transparent, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. And I did that just by clicking on this fill color. And then I can go ahead and type in here, and I'm just going to say start. I'm going to go ahead and center that just to make this look good. It's important that your flowchart be neat. Okay, you want it to be well formatted, well designed. You want it to be neat, easy to read. You don't want boxes that are too big or arrows going every different direction. You want to try to make sure that the different boxes and the different symbols are roughly the same size or relative size to those around them. And you want to make sure that that your drawing is neat. Okay, so I'm going to need an end one here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I just did a cut and paste there, Control C and Control V, Command C and Command V if you're on a Mac. And I'm just going to cut and paste that, and we'll have that for our end. And we'll just put that down here in the bottom, and we'll use that in a little bit. Next thing I need is I need a shape for an input-output. So I can hover here, and that's data. That's not the right one. Let's see, where's my input-output? Oh, that is the right one. So it's actually the same. Data and input-output are the same shape. Okay, so that's parallelogram. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. I'm going to make it transparent. Okay, and here I'm just going to say display. I'm going to say please, because it's important to be kind to your user. Please enter your name. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to line that up here. You see, notice I'm getting these alignment lines. So see the red line as I move my parallelogram. It's showing me when the center of the parallelogram is centered to the oval for my start terminator. Okay. Now here I could just continue to draw. I could draw new shapes each time, but I find it easier to just cut and paste here so that I have shapes that are the same size. Okay. I'm just going to align that here so that it's in a nice spot. Paste another one in and align that there so that it's in a good spot. And I'm trying to get them about the same distance apart, horizontal or vertically. Okay. So here I'm going to change this one from an input, from a display to an input. I'm going to say input name. Okay. And then I'm going to say hello name. Okay. And there we go. I did forget one step here, which is I need to declare my variable name. So I'm going to just highlight all of those and move them down a little bit. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to draw another shape. It's going to be the process shape. Okay, this is the process. And so variable declarations are a process. So I'm going to draw, I'm going to pick one. I'm going to make it about the same size as my, make it about the same size as my parallelograms. Make it transparent. Make sure we line that up with the other boxes. Okay, and this is going to be declare name. Okay, so now I have all my boxes drawn. Okay, now these boxes are fairly large. I mean, so I'm using a 14-point font here. So if I were to have a lot of these on the page, maybe in some of your algorithms you might have 12 or 15 or more shapes, and so in that case, maybe you want to reduce your variable size, and you can then reduce your box size, things like that. So you don't have to make them this big. This is a whole piece of paper. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I'm using the whole page nearly for my just a handful of boxes here. So you don't necessarily have to make them this big. If you need to use a smaller font, an 8 or maybe not 8, but maybe a 10 or an 11-point font, and then make your boxes and your shapes sized accordingly, that's fine. I'm just going to use undo here to get that back so it's the same size. Okay. The last thing I need to do is put my arrows in, and I've intentionally left the arrows till the end, because if you're moving your boxes around and you have a bunch of arrows already connected, then it can cause a little bit of an extra work. So I always put my boxes in order. I get them aligned, I get them formatted, I get them looking good and relatively placed on the page where I want them, and then I'm going to come in and put in my connectors. So here for the connectors, I'm going to use this line, and I'm just going to say I want an arrow. And once I get that, notice that I get these connection points on my drawings. And so I'm just going to say connect from there to there, connect from there to there, and I can just put my connectors in. Okay, oops, let's go ahead. No, I don't want that. Let's delete that one. In this case, I need to move my end box a little bit so that my arrow is straighter. Okay, so here we have our flowchart. Okay, now in this case, my end box is not lined up very well, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that to this other anchor point. Move that so that it's lined up appropriately. Notice that once I've anchored the lines, by anchoring that line to the blue or to the purple anchor, notice that when I move my end box around, the line sticks to the anchor points. Okay, and this is why I was saying doing the lines at the end is very useful, because if I come back and I decide that I want to insert a box in between two of these values, now I have to get rid of the line and redo the anchors and all of that. And so I just save those all until the end. But that line is going to be sticky and is going to follow my connections wherever that box might go. So let's put it back where it belongs. Okay, so there's my flow chart using Google Drawing. Now, in order to turn it in, I need a PDF of this, and so to do that, I just come here to File, I hit Download PDF Document. Once I do that, then I'll get a download here of a PDF, and from this, I can use this to upload to Canvas as my submission for the assignment. Okay, so that's how to use Google Drawing.